think we have done it. I think we have found the AFC Dallas Cowboys. And that is the Chargers. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are continuing our deep dive into the 2025 draft recap. We are in the AFC West and we're talking about the Chargers of Los Angeles. Still like them better in San Diego, but hey, so what? And we're gonna find out. Like I said, they are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. You feel like every year they're gonna do something, and then they don't, and then we're like, nah, that's what they're supposed to do. And we'll see what Harbaugh can do in his second year after evaluating the play that he did have initially and figuring out maybe this time I'll get even better players. So the Chargers come into today's draft with 9 selections. They almost got a full set of players, and I think a lot of them, they felt like they kind of addressed players that felt like, we could add more depth, we can add more quality, we can add better. And they've made some major decisions. The biggest one, of course, is Joey Bosa. And he is now a Buffalo Bill. Will that come back to bite him? Maybe, maybe not. But, you know, the Chargers, in a weird way, the Chargers have made a lot of decisions over the years where they have let players go, they couldn't sign players back, and some they have kept and they have just never developed. I am still kind of bummed that players like Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Merriman, you know, Eric Weddle, like all these players that couldn't do it or couldn't get an opportunity to get it done here with the Chargers. And some went on to other teams for like a year or two and then just disappeared. It's kind of sad to see that this is a team that felt like Phillip Rivers wasn't bad, and it just felt like we just couldn't do it. And remember, the Chargers was a team that had Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, and Doug Flutie at one point. And we all know that, well, Doug Flutie is more Canadian famous than NFL famous, but still there. And Drew Brees went on to become the Hall of Fame god of the Saints. So, and Phillip Rivers sadly became known as the guy that replaced Eli Manning because Eli Manning had a temper tantrum. So, looking at Justin Herbert, I am very sorry for him because right now he is on the same trajectory as other very good Charger quarterbacks. And I mean, I'm not gonna say he's Dan Fouts, but that's another quarterback that just didn't do it either. And had a great career in the NFL, just didn't do it for whatever reason. Makes you want to know how much is it a curse and how much of it is just, you know, you guys suck. Just, I mean, the Browns are a factor of sadness. You're a factor of just disappointment. And disappointment sometimes is worse than sadness. But anyway, let's see what you guys do this year's draft. With the 22nd overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Amaron Hampton, running back, UNSC. Go Tar Heels. So, Hampton, I have heard lots about. And in a weird way, I've heard of him more after the season than I did during the season. You look at his stats during the season, you become really surprised on what he's able to do. And then look at the Tar Heels as a team, you're thinking, something doesn't make sense. And sometimes that happens in college. Individual players will have very, very wonderful stats, but the team is meh. I mean, not below 500, meh, but like, we're going to the Mighty Car Care Bowl this year. We're going to the Music City Bowl. We're going to the Little Caesar Bowl. We're not going anywhere top tier, you know what I mean? So, to see what he's able to do, and in a weird way, this was one of those picks that everyone kind of felt, Chargers. If there was like a top 3 list of teams that were going to draft Hampton, the Charger was in almost every mock draft I could find, from YouTube to ESPN to everywhere else in between. And I thought Harbaugh was going to go tight end, but then the tight end pool kind of dried up a little bit, and that's why they probably went with. I mean, they did get a tight end that I really did like later, and I think he might be more of a surprise than they give him credit for. But to me, this felt a little bit like we need to give Herbert something. We need someone to take some pressure off Herbert, because a lot of times I feel like if Herbert does not succeed, the Chargers are basically dead in the water. And not even a defense. Let's remember, the Chargers defense was great last year. Some will say the Bucs game was kind of like what, and then they don't want to remember the playoff game where Herbert was giving turnovers away like he was doing a Make-A-Wish Foundation, giving charity to everybody. And it is really sad that another year of Justin, to the point where you start asking the question, is he going to be so expensive to keep that it will just delay the Chargers even more? I mean, it feels like every other year, almost every year sometimes, it feels like this is the year the Chargers will beat the Chiefs, or at least will win the division, or sweep the Chargers, or maybe not sweep the Chiefs, something, and it just never does. And for whatever reason, it just feels like, yeah, they are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. We just see them every year as something, and then when reality hits, we are somehow not surprised at what they are. And Hampton coming in is clearly meant to get pressure off Justin Herbert. And Hampton is a bell cow with quick speeds inside, and that's probably what's going to help Justin feel more comfortable. Plus, if it develops well, play action play, which I think Justin Herbert really wants to do. The receiving core, on the other hand, kind of iffy. Let's be real. But they had some promise. Landon McConkey was great. And clever segue, in the second round, with the 55th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Trey Harris, wide receiver, Mississippi. Okay, this was a guy that I heard a lot about, and I kind of felt like he was picked probably at the right sweet spot that a lot of people were considering being going to. I thought maybe someone would take a risk and pick him up probably at the 40th round, like the 40th pick in between there. But I feel like, 55, just in that sweet spot. He was clearly a second round pick in the making. And the Chargers, which I said in my review of the Chargers, they need somebody else besides Landon McConkey. And Landon McConkey was my MVP because he did so much as a solo act. And honestly, I think a lot of us thought of, mainly my Charger fans out there, thought Landon McConkey was a good number 2. And the Chargers brought back Mike Williams. Okay. Quentin Johnson still on the roster. Sure. And Trey Harris. This is how disappointing Quentin Johnson is. Trey Harris, the rookie, is already viewed as a starting 3 receivers. He's already up there with Mike Williams and McConkey. He's already viewed as a starting receiver. While Quentin Johnson is the backup. And we'll see which day of the year he plays worthy of his number one first round pick grade, or will he be viewed as another wide receiver that just feels like, I don't know, man. I don't know why he's having the worst case of yips ever. But I really feel like the Chargers really need another receiver, because I think Landon McConkey went above and beyond, which makes you feel, can you imagine if he has a competent number 2 guy to kind of, one, take the attention away, and you can see what Landon McConkey can do? I mean, let's be real. Landon McConkey's on the same trajectory as a lot of great, young white receivers out there, and Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, Julie Edelman. He's off to a great start his rookie season doing that, and he was the go-to guy. But Williams coming back, and then Trey Harris already being viewed as a starter, can't help but feel like, yes, they got 2 offensive weapons to help out Justin Herbert. This is clearly meant to help Herbert finally get over the hump. And hopefully beyond, because I'm sure Harbaugh wants to be more than just, we won a playoff game. Okay, we're done. Pack it up. Let's go home. No. They want to be considered as dangerous as the Bengals and the Ravens and the Bills every single year. And honestly, it starts with you beating the Chiefs in your own division and honestly winning the division. Going to the third round, mind you, with the 86th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle, Oregon. Jamari? Right? Yeah, Caldwell. Okay. Chargers run a 3-4 defense. They currently have Caldwell as a nose tackle. So he's right there behind Tart in the interior side. Could potentially get some rotation side, but I can clearly be more of a support player, especially when it comes to goal line, short yard situations. Or they need to set up a more double interior defensive front. But they're running a 3-4. I really felt like Bosa really works better with a 4-3. So in a weird way, I kind of felt like maybe he can utilize his best his ability in a 3-4. Khalil Mack signed to a contract there, so he'll still be there. But this feels very much like the Chargers are just not putting a band-aid over their pass rush side, but it just feels like with Bosa gone for whatever reason, money, injuries, too expensive, lack of like whatever. I kind of feel that the Chargers didn't really address the pass rush department this draft class. It does not feel with the players they have that they did. And I feel like this will be a team where I say it's the offense that's going to carry this team moving forward. But like I said, the Chargers defense was top tier last year, except for the Bucs game. They were top tier. I think they were like top 5, top 3 defense. Like they were number 1 against stopping the run. Like they were that good. So I don't know. It just feels that, okay, we're a top tier defense. Let's get on the defensive tackle and a 3-4 defense that specializes more on linebacker, pass rusher side. Okay. I felt like the scheme is missing, but Harbaugh has been on a team that won defensively and running the ball in Michigan, so he probably knows what he's doing. So let's, give him credit for that. And I think Charger fans will only give him credit for that because what else they got to? What else they can say? Charger fans are witnessing the history in some shape or form. But defensive tackle help, support the run, even though you guys are like top tier run defense. So I guess to keep adding depth to where it needs to be. Then we go to the 4th round with the 125th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Chargers select Kyle Kennard, edge, South Carolina. So here you go, we're addressing the edge pass rush department. We all know that Khalil Mack he's fighting, man. He is fighting for as long as he can, and I think Khalil Mack has proven enough that I can see him potentially getting a jacket. I can see him potentially getting a jacket at the end of his career. Kind of disappointing that you feel like, man, he really should have gone to a team that wanted to win. Now, granted, the Charger probably was that team that had the closest chance to potentially winning. He still does, because when he was on the Raiders, he was the only thing that was really good about the Raiders was him. And then he went to the Bears, and he was great on the Bears, but the Bears was not great on its own. So Mac just feels like a player that just really should have gone to a much better team to win. But he's a professional, and he keeps moving forward, and he's with the Chargers again, even though there were talks that he could have gone to Buffalo, Tampa, Philadelphia. He could have gone to another team. He could have gone somewhere else to probably get that one last hoorah ring and then be like, I did it, I'm done. But here they get Kyle, and they currently have Kyle viewed as the weak side linebacker, and he'll get rotation with Tuli. So clearly meant his development, rotation. We'll see how quickly he gets involved in the scheme of the defense. But this is obviously, in my humble opinion, is to pressure quarterback. Let's be real. You got Mahomes, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, but also if the playoff comes, you're going to have it going against the Burrows, the Josh Allens, and the Lamar Jackson. So I would say the Chargers honestly are building to beat the Chiefs in their own division more than to defeat anyone in the playoffs, in my humblest opinion. But of course, you want to get ready for the playoffs too. But let's be real. Chargers, you should be focused on trying to beat the Chiefs in your own division and potentially try to win the division, and then kind of, take what you have. And then, because let's be real, if you beat the Chiefs twice, I think you have more of a leg up than other teams in the AFC conference to win it and go to the Super Bowl if you can beat the Chiefs twice. So Kyle is definitely to help to support, but probably meant to harass Mahomes and company. Going to the 5th round with the 158th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, I misspoke. The Los Angeles Chargers select Keadrian Lebert Smith, wide receiver, Auburn. So, We got 2 wide receivers. Okay. Both from the SEC. Just purely coincidence there. But I can't help but feel like this is clearly a support for Orlando McConkey. You got Mike Williams back, but you're willing to let Mike Williams go on a trade. So I guess, okay. Quentin Johnson, I feel like you're not supporting us, so maybe you're just trying to double up on young, talented receivers to see if they make splashes, or it can be used as a way to light a fire under the veteran receivers to make sure they keep their jobs. Maybe. Let me take a look here. They currently have Lebert Smith as, funny enough, they have him behind Trey Harris. So we got 2 rookies in the first string and second string spots already. Quentin Johnson, not gonna say your career is flatlining, but it's looking that way. We got 2 young receivers already being projected to be either starters or clearly the number 2 guy, respectively. And if they get acclimated into Justin Herbert and they, catch the ball, they will probably last longer than you. So I'm going to say with these 2 picks, it kind of put the pressure on Quentin Johnson to step up, probably more than Mike Williams. So this could be Quentin Johnson's last, like, you need to prove yourself here, or the Chargers may not say you're not worth it. Disappointing as it is, but you might not be worth the grade and the status we give you. Sorry. And going to still in the 5th round with the 165th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Orden Gadsden II, tight end, Syracuse. This is the player I'm most excited about. Spoilers to the end. I already gave it away. But when I heard he got picked up by Syracuse, from Syracuse, I was like, yay! This guy is a thick receiver. This guy fits more of receiving than blocking. Now, he is currently viewed a 3rd string behind Tyler and Will, but I honestly believe he'll be used more as a receiving threat. Like I said, he is a thick receiver. He is 6'5", 236. A tight end under 250 is light, and a tight end that's under 240 is lighter. So I'm telling you, he is a big, tall, red zone type, jump ball type tight end. He is clearly meant for receiving. So to me, this is your 50-50 ball. This is your guy that's going to compete with the safeties. This is the guy that in the corner of the end zone, you're going to throw the ball up to him and he will make that catch. This is your thick receiver. And I think with Harbaugh in the realm, Harbaugh had a great tight end in Michigan. So this guy's a steal. And if he starts making plays, don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Don't be surprised. Now we go to the 6th round. With the 199th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Branson Taylor, offensive tackle, Pittsburgh. Pardon. So, every good head coach knows you want to protect your quarterback. And Slater is currently the starting left tackle, but Taylor is already being viewed as the potential heir to that position. Because, let's be real, when it comes to the 2 positions, Herbert's probably more projected to probably stay longer, and hopefully that Taylor will develop into that new tackle that they can hold on and pay a rookie contract for a few more years before they have to make the decision on that position. But because of the left tackle position, we all know it has a high value. If Taylor develops into the player he's supposed to be, one, it'll be cost financial investment in the future, but also it could potentially be a new insurance policy for Justin. Rashawn Slater is only 26 years old, and he was drafted by the Chargers in 2021. So for all I'm thinking is, and they got Joe Alt, I'm looking around. No, I don't see him. We're putting him anywhere else on the side. So this guy's clear an extra tackle. So they don't see him as potential anywhere as a new tackle, but I do see him You know, now I'm thinking about it, it's kind of weird. This feels like a weird pick. You got another tackle, and you got Slater and Joe Alt. Two players that you already addressed. So you already drafted your starting two tackles. So I can't help but wonder why draft him. Unless you're going to move into an interior position, but right now he's projected as a tackle, I don't know. I will consider him as an investment moving forward, and I'll consider it that. But Slater and Alt, I don't know. Harbaugh has succeeded with Michigan with offensive line blocking for running back. So for all I know it, Taylor is going to be utilized as an extra tackle for run-heavy offense. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. I'm kind of grabbing straws here and realizing I'm trying to find out the idea of a national championship winning head coach in Michigan. Then still in the 6th round with the 214th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected R.J. Mickens, safety, Clemson. So now we're going back to defense side of the ball for them, and I don't know. Look at their safety. Derwin James is still killing it, but I do understand, in times, great play will eventually start losing, speed, losing quickness, and you kind of want to have an insurance policy. And Derwin James, sadly, could be just another great Charger that just couldn't help the Chargers more. Because there are times when Derwin James is out, the Chargers secondary, and especially in the middle of the field, just like disappears. They just feel lost. And looking at here, they currently have RJ in the strong safety behind Tony Jefferson and Derwin James. So RJ's behind two veterans that have been in this league a lot longer than he has. So obviously he's going to learn from them, but I can't help but feel like he is being learned for the future. In case the time comes where Derwin James becomes a casualty of Father Time, casualty of injuries, a casualty of too expensive to keep, what have you. And Tony Jefferson's been in the league a lot longer, and he's been on different teams. So this could be just a development for RJ. Get your shots on special teams, make some plays on your marks, and then do something in preseason, earn your roster spot, and then go from there. You're not, hopefully, bearing injuries, you won't be forced into the starting lineup. But if you do, you gotta take advantage of the opportunity, especially as a rookie, regardless of when you were drafted. To me, this feels more of an investment for the future, not so much this year. Then the last pick, the 7th round, with the 256th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers selected Triweiz Bridges, safety, Florida. So, I guess we're going to double up with two safeties moving forward, and they currently have him, Bridges, as... Don't see his name here. I don't see his name on the mock depth chart. No, wait, I do see him. No, wait, I see him. Okay, he's a safety, but here it looks like they have him being moved to corner. Yeah, he's a safety, but according to the mock depth chart on ESPN.com, they project to have him as a left corner. So for all I know, they run a nickelback system, so I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Only the first time we have seen defensive back switch position when it comes to the NFL, but usually it's from corner to safety. Malcolm Jenkins is the biggest one I can always remember, that he was a corner from Ohio State, got moved to safety and became one of the greatest defensive backs for like a decade plus from the Eagles and the Saints. Okay, that's how dangerous he was. Not to mention he played like 100% of the snaps almost every game either too, so he was also inhuman and a machine. So seeing them move from a safety to a corner, I can't help but feel like this might be more of a situational setup. Not so much a nickelback, even though I kind of feel like that would be the place to go. But maybe Bridges has a better matchups one-on-one, and that's probably going to put him as a corner to be more of an individual scheme coverage than developing into territory like most safeties do. Safeties most like to cover like a good half of the field and sometimes deeper and be the last line of defense. Maybe Bridges is more of a support, cover receivers inside the slot, but he's viewed as a safety, but they probably use him more inside to be more physical one-on-one matchups. That might be where they're trying to go with him, because it's kind of interesting to see him projected to be a safety, but they have him viewed as a corner in the depth chart. But like I said, it's a depth chart. By the end of preseason, he'll be probably a safety, and we'll all be normal as we're talking about it here. So, not a big surprise. So that concludes the Chargers picks. The grade I give the Chargers, they're not contenders. I gotta give them better. Anything lower than that just feels disrespectful. They went to the playoff, they lost again. Herbert's still there. They got receivers back. McConkey's there. They got receivers to replace, so McConkey had the unsung hero. The defense was still top tier, but Bosa's gone. How much is that going to impact them? So they're better because they address, defensive linemen. They address secondary. They address offensive. They got two big offensive weapons, the first two picks, which clearly means they want Justin Herbert to succeed, whether with supporting players or as an extra weapon and tool. But they're better. And the player I'm most excited about is Orden Gadsden II, the tight end from Syracuse. I misbutchered his name, but if he does well, then I'll be like, I liked him anyway. He's a thick receiver. He is going to be so dangerous in the middle of the field. Like, I'm telling you, if he gets like 45 to 50 catches this year and like 7 touchdowns, do not be surprised. I'm not going to say he's going to break record, but Harbaugh likes his tight ends in Michigan, and you're telling me that he wasn't getting kind of excited about this guy potentially falling in his lap? He's a thick receiver, and he's going to prove it, especially in those 50-50 balls in the goal line. If most of his touchdowns come in within inside the red zone, don't be surprised either. Don't be surprised. Everyone else is meant for perimeter and downfield. Gadsden II, he's meant for red zone and end zones. So he is my favorite player, and if you're a Charger fan, you should be really excited about this guy being part of the Chargers because, let's be real, Henry and Gage were your great tight ends, and I'm sure you want another good one to make the Chargers legacy of tight ends great, up there with Kellen Winslow Sr. And that is the Chargers. We are down to one more team. And in a weird way, we're saving the best for last because very similar to like the Washington Commanders, this was another team that no one thought had anything. And the best thing about it is that they criticized them taking the last donut in Bo Nix. So we'll conclude the AFC West by talking about the Denver Broncos and their wonderful season of making back to the postseason. And like anything else, can you do it again? We'll see. But until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.